Hi, I'm Napoleon Bell, and recently my wife Toni and I went on a journey to Selma, Alabama to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act and the crossing of the Edmund Pettus Bridge on what became known as Bloody Sunday. We were joined by tens of thousands of people from all over the world. We asked several of them why they came and what remains to be done. Going to Selma was like a step back in time. As the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Voting and the Voting Rights Act matters. Get involved, get engaged, get out and vote.
To march with Martin Luther King Jr. so black people can have rights.
Well, I found out 2 weeks ago that we were going to go to Selma to march for Martin Luther King.
And how do you feel about that?
I feel great about it, so we can do what Martin Luther King did, just like he did for our rights.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a cop,
You do? Nice. Why?
just so I can save citizens in the world and protect the city from crime.
Wow. And you're in what grade?
7th grade.
You're in the 7th grade, and you want to
I heard a lot about the walk and how it's like a great experience, so I want to put out an experience for myself.
Really? Okay. And who'd you come here with?
My dad and the rest of my family.
Do you realize how lucky you are to have a family that gives you this experience at your age?
Yeah, it's kind of rare, so.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I really want to work in the field of technology, but if that doesn't work, I mean basketball, football, anything, But that was my main goal. I love technology, so.
We went to see Selma. They let them watch it, let them get a clearer understanding as to what went on down here and what it is that we're coming down here for.
What do you hope? How do you hope your children are going to be different as a result of this experience?
I just hope that they learn something and not take the things for granted that were fought so hard, blood and sweat hard for. And that's what I would hope that they would get out of this.
Also, just the black history, just to learn their culture and all that. So I think that will definitely help.
Yeah, you're definitely from a proud people.
I kind of wanted to learn more about the history of the March on Selma and just experience the whole thing down here in Alabama.
Really, at your young age, you
Yeah,
want to know more.
yeah, wanted to know more
Because your family does this, or what?
because I'm just interested in how people fought for our basic rights.
What are you going to do with this when you get back?
I'm gonna inform my friends and my family, just tell them about my experience down here.
Said that we're moving from an era of civil rights to human rights because, in fact, towards the end of his life, and probably at least 10 years before he was killed, he really had started to talk about how we need a human rights movement. And by that, he meant, and we mean, that we need more than civil rights. We need economic rights, economic justice. I don't think you can have racial justice in this country if you don't have economic justice, or if we don't change the way the political system works. So we're
here not only to support and to express our love, appreciation, and respect for all those who came before us and died, but also to continue to make the movement real and to motivate and inspire people to keep doing what they were doing then, and that's get involved, become active, sustain what's going on, educate your children, educate yourselves, and make sure we stand up against all of these very extreme policies by the Republican extremists, the Tea Party, and all of those, to try to make sure that our people and poor people and people of color have an opportunity to really share in the equality and the benefits of this country that were earned by those who died and shed their blood and went to prison.
What's been one of the people to march on the Edmund Pettus Bridge during Bloody Sunday?
Most definitely, I would have, and not not so much because of the fact that I could not vote, but because my children and the elders in our life at that time, they were willing to sacrifice and go across that bridge for me as a young person, which I would have been back in that time. They were willing to sacrifice, and anybody who's willing to sacrifice for another human being, you get involved with that. You really do. Yeah.
Amen.
Unfortunately, I probably would have been one of those that died because I was born with the attitude.
How did that movie Selma inspire you to come here?
I just because the things that they did in the movie, I wanted to see how it felt. So, like to walk on the bridge.
Okay.
I know that my life is easier because of the sacrifices that my grandparents made, that my parents made. I understand that voting is very important to being an American and having all the rights and privileges that come with being an American. And if it hadn't been for their struggles and this being part of the beginning of that, I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
This is a historic event, and the UAW, which I'm a part of, did a lot for the civil rights movement. So we want to continue that trend and show our support, not only historically, but what we do with daily activities. And I just remember when I was young, my grandmother, who clearly was white, right, and she really had a heart for Martin Luther King Jr., but she was an overt racist. And so when he was murdered, and I know that's not a part of this weekend, she actually broke down and cried. And as a young child, that really impacted me because I heard everything else she said. But this one person broke down that barrier in her heart. So that's really important to me. And that's why I'm coming.
The power of one.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you.
The reason why I'm here to Selma is not so much commemoration. It's more of a recommitment. The thing is, I'm not here to simply commemorate what happened, especially when people 50 years ago were beat by police the same way we're viciously being choked and killed by police today. The reason why I'm here is because we have a Selma-like movement happening in North Carolina. The fact that there was 80,000 people that showed up in Raleigh, North Carolina for a hugely important demonstration. The fact that North Carolina is still moving the South is kind of a galvanizing thing, especially with voting rights being under attack constantly. You can't get rid of the Voting Rights Act and think that we're going to come down here and have a happy celebration and commemoration of James Reeb's death or of Jimmy Lee Jackson's death, and you just got rid of the Voting Rights Act. Like we're not here for that.
It's very positive. It's unifying. We had an event last weekend where a lot of the local churches got together and we marched backwards across the bridge to represent, how the coming together. And weekend, it's just, it couldn't be any better. It's everybody has been kind. We've hugged necks with people from all over and met some really neat people. It's just wonderful.
That's amazing. So your shirt, can you show us your shirt? And your shirt says?
I am Selma.
And what does it mean to say, I am Selma? What does that mean to you?
And if you go to, I think it's www.iamselma.com. She has a website. It's a girl that lives in my neighborhood made these T-shirts.
Take the step to educate yourself. Outside of YouTube, outside of the circular conversations that you're having with your friends, see what other people are saying. See what people who are saying who are actually on the ground. Not the people who are saying that, oh, you're a fake Malcolm X, or, oh, you're just out there for the attention or for the moment. Listen to the people who are actually there, who actually see the pride, who actually feel what it's like to be out there and to want to create a change within themselves and within the community. It's more so than out here. It's what you feel in here.
You're an amazing.
I'm afraid of leaving this world and not living a day in a society that's democratic, because I'm 53 years old, and as I understand democracy, we haven't seen it yet. And my dream is just to live for one complete day where the people are in charge, where we're controlling things, where oligarchs are a thing of the past. And I want to spend every day of my life working to make sure that we get to that point.
Coming from North Carolina, where there is also one of the largest movements happening in the nation in terms of the Moral Monday Forward Together movement, and seeing the political context where we are now, how it's almost we've come full circle, and not only to come in the spirit of commemoration, but in the spirit of recommitting ourselves to go out and do this work that we see. We know the Voting Rights Act is under attack. We know education is under attack like never before. And in the spirit of Dr. King, if we really want to honor his legacy and those who marched here 50 years ago, we must come, commemorate ourselves, yes, but then go back out and do the work.
And I'm always moved by history. And when I look at, what the civil rights movement did, those that sacrificed for me to have what I have today, how can I stand on the sidelines and continue to complain? You have to get involved. You have to be active, and you got to pass it along. So that's why I'm here.
How do you address the apathy that you see among younger voters and even voters who may have been around during the civil rights movement?
Can't give up. I mean, if you can reach one, you teach one. And it's easy to get caught up into, well, you know, things will never change. But you can't let what our forefathers and foremothers did for us go in vain. So you got to get off the sidelines once again and, you know, just do the best you can do.
What do you tell our young people, especially in some cities?
Odds. I mean, if you continue to sit back and listen to how media portrays us, then you're going to buy into that stereotype. But go against the odds. Use what so many have come before you, what they've done in terms of making something out of themselves. Do it for you. You're already counted out from the beginning. So you're going to bring truth to that? Or you're going to say, I'm going to be motivated and I'm going to make something out of my life? That's what I would say.
Because their crown has already been paid for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.